Hello everyone, it's Alex from Ernest Alex Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I completed in the first half of February. So last month in January I ended up reading 18 books and I thought it would be just nicer for me personally to split up my wrap-ups in two parts. I think I would much rather talk about the books that I read in the first half of the month and the second half of the month separately, so I can spend a little bit more on each book. So I'm trying it out in February. Let's see how it goes. So let's start talking about some books. I completed 7 books as of February 14th, 3 physical books and 4 audiobooks. So pretty proud of myself. It's been a really good reading month so far. First off, in the month of February, I listened and completed A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy, so the final book in the Darker Shades of Magic series, and I thought it was the strongest out of all 3 books. I was the most into this book out of all 3. I was really intrigued and excited and interested in the whole novel. I ended up giving it 4 stars. My only qualm was that I felt that Lila Bard was basically the same person at the beginning of the 3 books and at the end. Her situation obviously changed and she knew a lot more about herself, but her basic character traits were still the same, as opposed to a lot of the other characters within the series where you could totally see their character development. But all in all, great trilogy. Really glad that I got to it. And yeah, like I said, 4 stars. Then I listened and completed another audiobook, Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I'm very, very thankful that books like this exist and are being published and teens can read these books. Yeah, I'm just glad that stories like these are being published. This book follows Justice, an African-American teenager who is going to a prep school and decides to write letters to Martin Luther King Jr. As a way to deal with the injustice he faces and the stereotyping, and throughout the book Justice has to go through a lot and has a lot to deal with in terms of trauma inflicted to him by the injustices in the US, and he tries to deal with all of this whole situation by writing letters to Martin Luther King Jr. And I thought it was really well done, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. The next book I read and completed was King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in Leigh Bardugo's new duology, which follows Nikolai, the King of Ravka. This is basically a continuation of the original Grisha trilogy that takes place directly after the Six of Crows duology. I would definitely suggest reading all of those if you're interested in picking this one up. This was a highly anticipated novel for me, and I gave it 3 stars, which is not terrible. It's quite good. I rate books mostly 3 stars. I enjoyed it while I was reading it. I'm glad that there's a continuation in the Grishaverse. Yeah, I thought there were a couple pacing issues with this novel, and all in all, I thought that the stakes within this book were not high enough. All of this crazy, there's so many crazy things that are happening that are really high stakes, but it just felt kind of I guess too easy for the main characters. But yeah, all in all, great read. Happy that I picked it up. After King of Scars, I read another highly anticipated book for me in 2019, which is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I absolutely adored this book. On the Come Up follows Bree, a 16-year-old girl who wants to become a rapper, and the premise of this book is that her first song goes viral, but for the wrong reasons, and it focuses on her trying to start her rap career as well as dealing with stereotypes and injustice in high school and in her community. I thought it was absolutely amazing. The writing style is so phenomenal, and it was amazing. I didn't expect any less. I gave it 4 stars. Then I listened to 2 more audiobooks. One of them was My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This book was a bit out of the box for me, but I'm super glad that I picked it up. This book follows the sister, a woman whose sister keeps killing her boyfriends, and at the start of the novel it's unclear if the sister is defending herself from terrible men and it just happened to have killed 3 of her boyfriends, or if there's something more sinister going on. And it's a look at what it means to be an enabler, and it's a look at the complexities of sisterhood, and yeah, it was really amazing. I thought the narrator of the audiobook was really great. I thought it was really great. I normally don't tend to read or listen to stuff that could be considered a thriller, but this was a genre bending delight of a book, and I gave it 4 stars. The next audiobook I picked up is an extremely hyped, well-deservedly hyped novel, and that is Sadie by Courtney. I picked up this book because I heard a ton of positive stuff about it, especially the audiobook, and I was sat in a bus and thought, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Today is the day. I absolutely loved the audiobook because they use a full cast of characters, and I thought that really added a lot to the story in general. I don't tend to pick up hard-hitting contemporaries or thrillers, and this is really a hard-hitting, very visceral, very intense novel. However, I gave it 4 stars. I'm very grateful that I picked this book up, even if it was difficult for me to get through some passages. I think it's supposed to be difficult to get through some passages of this book, and I thought the writing and the plot was phenomenal, and if you haven't listened to the audiobook, please do. I think it's really amazing. If you are a bit worried, and what I should have done is look at the content warnings and then decide if you are feeling up to it or not. Like I said, 4 stars, totally worth the hype. And then the last book that I read as of the 14th of February is Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This is an Iliad retelling from the perspective of Briseis, who was a queen of a region near Troy, and is, at the beginning of the book, her city is being pillaged by the Greeks, by Achilles, and she becomes Achilles' prize, war prize, and becomes a slave, and it follows her and her experience with the other women. I gave this book 3 stars because I think the premise is very important. I think there has been a lot of Iliad or Trojan War retellings, and I think it is important to have a book that is focused solely on the women. I really enjoyed this book as I was reading it. That was my reading wrap up for February, the first part. I hope you enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, let's talk about them because I love chatting about some books. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and goodbye!